From players to experts and analysts, they all say defense wins championships. In the NFL, you can't expect to win a Super Bowl or a ton of NFL games without some defense being played. Some teams get by with an average defense, while other teams have elite defense. But every team strives to have an elite defense. Here are the top 10 defenses coming to the 2022 NFL season. An honorable mention, we have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have built a great defense on all three levels. Led by their secondary, this defense is poised to give opposing offenses a fit with Pro Bowl corners Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, along with rising young safety Devon Holland. Byron Jones will miss some games for the Dolphins as he's on a physically unable to perform list. They do have solid inside linebackers in Jerome Baker and Leonard Roberts. Defensive line is a real strength of this defense with Jalen Phillips and Melvin Ingram as the edge rushers, and Christian Wilkins and Raekwon Davis solidifying the middle. This defense can wreak havoc with their aggressive play, but with the loss of Brian Flores, we have to wait and see if they can execute. At 10, the LA Rams. This defense is coming off a Super Bowl win, shows they were one of the top defenses in the NFL. The defense features three players who are considered the top of their position, and Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Bobby Wagner. These three players make offenses change their game plan completely when they're on the field because they're game makers. Outside of these three players, the players are not great but good enough to get the job done. At times last season, defense tended to lapse at times to become vulnerable, but when everyone is consistent and locked in, this is a very dominant defense. At number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Led by Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt, the Steelers feature one of the top front 7 units in the league. The players like Cameron Hayward, Devin Bush, Miles Jack, and Tyson Alualu. Despite having strong players at the safety position, Minka and Edmonds, the secondary is still a question, specifically at the corner position, but not exactly elite corners in Kelly Witherspoon and Levi Wallace. Cleveland defense is vulnerable if the pass rush doesn't get home, but I still expect this defense to be one of the best this year to that front 7 unit in pass rush. At number 8, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles made major acquisitions this offseason to shore up this defense that had glaring holes last year by signing James Bradbury, Hassan Reddick, and Kazir White. The Eagles also traded for versatile DB CJ Gardner-Johnson from New Orleans. The Eagles defense doesn't have many holes in this defense as they are solid at every level. On paper it looks great, but they still have to live up to the high expectation when it comes to this season. At number 7, we have the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens had an injury-riddled season in the secondary, still performed as one of the best defenses in the NFL at season end. This defense is expected to be even better this year with Marcus Peters and Malafi returning from injury. For assurance, the Ravens added Marcus Williams and Kyle Fuller, along with drafting Kyle Hamilton to their secondary, making this group scary to go against. The interior D-line and linebackers are another strength for this defense, as opponents struggle to run against this number 1 run defense in the pass. The only uncertainty with this defense is that they don't have a consistent pass rusher, which has been a flaw for years with this defense. But surely, expect this defense to be dominant in 2022. At 6, the LA Chargers. The Chargers are another team that go heavy in additions to shore up their defense by signing J.C. Jackson, Bryce Callahan to pair with Darren James in a solid secondary. They also signed Sebastian Joseph Day to shore up a run defense that was one of the worst in the league last year. They didn't stop there. They went all out and trade for future Hall of Famer Khalil Mack, paired with Joey Bosa as a premier edge rush group. The only position group they didn't shore up is the interior linebacker group, which is the weak point of this defense. This defense looks great on paper, they still have to produce. If they do it, it'll be a scary sight for offenses. At 5, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are led by their elite secondary, which is one of the best in the NFL. They shore up that secondary by selecting DB Kyrie Elam out of Florida as their first round pick. Secondary will be without their top corner Trey White for a while, so it will be interesting how the defense holds up without him. Defense has struggled in the past with pass rush. It's time for Ron Miller to give that boost. Bills defense will get a good test against the LA Rams in their opener and see where they are as a unit. They should be a good unit this season. At 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers had an injury-plagued season in the secondary last year and are getting back all their starters. That makes a very good to elite group. But the Buccaneers are a complete 3-level defense, in which they have a top 3 LB unit and top 3 D-line, which is possibly the best front 7 against the run in the NFL. The only question mark is if they can have consistent pass rush from their edge rushers, Shaq Barrett, and Joe Tyron. If they stay healthy, this will be a top 3 defense in the league. At 3, the San Francisco 49ers. This defense is led by their elite front 7, which the defensive line is probably the best in the NFL by the way they can plug and play players and they perform. Also, their top 3 linebacker group, which features the best inside linebacker in football, Fred Warner. Secondary is good with solid corners in Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley. Secondary may struggle due to injuries at safety and nickel, but I believe the vicious pass rush the 49ers have protected the secondary for the most part, but this unit will be elite again for another year. At number 2, the New Orleans Saints. This defense is elite at all 3 levels. They'll for sure be a menace for opposing offenses this season. The Saints added elite safeties Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May to replace departures from last year. It's interesting to see how the secondary will play without CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's a top slot defender they traded, and having PJ Williams' second position. They expect Paulson and Dable to take another step in development to solidify the corner position opposite of Lattimore. They'll also be able to rely on their elite front 7 that features top players like Mario Davis and Cam Jordan. This should be a top unit, but we'll have to see throughout the season. At number 1, the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are another elite 3-level defense in the NFL, with players like Jair Alexander, Devontae Campbell, and Rashawn Gary. The secondary is filled with great players around Jair, which makes offenses think twice about throwing the ball. They drafted Quay Walker to pair him with Devontae Campbell in the middle to solidify that group of LBs. Expect Rashawn Gary to take another step forward, possibly being an all-pro consideration this year off the edge, and his running mate opposite of him, Preston Smith, provide consistent pressure for the Packers. This defense was a top 10 against the run and pass last year, and it should continue this year in 2022. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is there teams missing? Is there teams too high, teams too low, teams who shouldn't be on the list? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content.